Hello, 978 YouTube subscribers. You're watching my favorite channel here on YouTube. There's lots of channels on YouTube. You can watch Second Street Marvel. You can see Comics Explained. You can watch Caped Joel. Check out Thinking Critical. How about Keep It Comics? All fine channels, but this is my favorite. Inferno issue number 1, you see? See, there's lots of X-Men books. There's the Uncanny X-Men. Remember the all new X-Men? There was Extreme X-Men. This is the return of consequential X-Men here on Dawn of X. Hickman tells everyone working at the X-Men office off in this comic book. He says it. It's like 10 straight pages, maybe it wasn't that long, of just F you, you're cool, F you. And there was only one you're cool. It was when he mentioned Terra Verde for Benjamin Percy. That was like, all right, you're blessed. But everybody else in this comic book was insulted. And it's so petty. And it came at the expense of my dollars. And I was okay. For some reason, I was okay. You know why? Because I agreed with this guy. We had an ideological similarity, right? We saw something the same way, and I agreed. Is that right? Does that make it okay? I don't know, but I'm admitting to it. I'll get to those pages, but I swear to you, Jonathan Hickman tells these guys to F off. It happens in this comic. First page. Someone remembers is why they keep coming. It was a white page. That was cool. When this began, and I seen that Professor X and Magneto were taken out, and they died, and Emma Frost says, "To me, my X-Men." I'm going, what the hell? They died? Mystique killed them? That wasn't the case, actually. It wasn't that extreme. Flipping over now to the next white page of significance we've had in a while. It's the Orcus events. It's titled Mutant Incursions. And every single incursion here was a comic book I wish I would have bought. Can you imagine if this is what the X-Force books were doing and they were leading to this and building to something, you know? Like when a story has something happen in the story and then it's referenced again, and the thing that happened influences what happens next. Storytelling.
So we call it.
Let me see that. Give me a whole comic book of all of these events happening. That would have been something nice to see. In there is Quentin Quire, Domino, and Wolverine, and they don't make it. Dr. Gregor now is casually just thinking about what just happened. These guys are not learning. What's up? She doesn't know this, but she knows this. What we know is that as soon as one of our mutant friends die, they don't retain their memory. They just have from the latest upload. So they're going to make the same mistakes and keep on dying. But what we do see in the background is art telling the story. There's a whole bunch of Logan skeletons that's made of adamantium that they have in their possession. I count 1 tube, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight tubes of the skeleton of Logan. That's scary, but that's what it's there for, to spook us out. This is leading somewhere. Was it the somewhere that they're leading to? Is that going to get resolved in this issue series of Inferno, this 4-part issue? I don't think so anymore. I'm beginning to think that Hickman is just kind of leaving his stuff on pause. He's going to let the maniacs run the asylum, the inmates, and when they're done being stupid, the phone call goes back to Hickman. It's like, okay, now you can go on to your phase 2, and we'll continue. I feel like after reading this, I'm getting the sense that Jonathan Hickman is not finished. He's leaving, but he can return. He's going to leave what he wants in its place. We'll see how that goes exactly as the series progresses. Now, Moira, life number 3. She's with the scientist friends, and they're chilling and they're celebrating. This is a callback to House of X issue number 2. The thing is, though, it's different art. However, it's the same positions. Why did they do this? This probably has to do with paying artists twice or something like that. But it's the same panels drawn by a new person. It's the same words. So I guess Hickman gets paid equally. It's very strange. I don't like that. I'd rather just, give me what Pepe Larraz did last time if you want to remind me. But it's kind of a waste of resources, don't you think? I'm sure there was a definite reason. But yeah, we had a couple of more extra pages to accompany it. The beginning of this Destiny and Mystique pulling up on Moira. And it's the same thing we saw before. It hit differently, of course. I'd especially like to draw attention to how Moira says the cure is only for people who want it. And Destiny says you think it stops at who wants it. Living in a world where there are vaccine mandates for a shot that does not prevent infection, just reduces your symptoms of infection. I love how this came out in 2019 and it kind of addresses it. Here now, Moira's back on Muir Island, as we'll find out later, and she's reading a list. The names here: Mediverse Singh. I think that was one of the doctors that were there, scientists. And there's Ailey Hatwell. I know there's an actress called Haley Atwell who's she plays Peggy Carter, so that's probably an Easter egg towards her. The other four names I couldn't recognize if they were Easter eggs, the other of the three, and they're probably not. But like, you guys can let me know in comments if you figured it out. Who is Desmond Moore with two R's and two O's? There's Francis Gill, Gill with one L. What's that about? If you know, let me know. But I don't think there's anything to it. Moira is being tracked, by the way, because when she does return to her headquarters, oh, that's not the next page. The next page is actually people figuring out in Terra Verde, figuring out that there's going to be, these monkeys are figuring out that there are two Krakoan portals inside of the Paris hideout. At that location, in the Paris location, they know that because horticulture is back.
Thank you for being a friend.
Horticulture sold a code to understand the plants to these Orcus people because that's why they were introduced. It wasn't for nothing. And those clever, dirty mutants, they figured out a way to confuse the Orcus people. Two plants in the Paris location. It's war, and they're anteing up their troops. Here, we're at Moira's no place. She returns to Professor X and Charles Xavier already waiting for her. How you know this? We spied. You drank that tea the other time. You know, you're the most important mutant to us, Moira. And that itch that's on your elbow, that's the plant spying ware that we had and we added to you. She's kind of pissed about it. What they're here to explain to her or suggest to Moira is, how about befriending those machines? Have you ever tried that in your 10 lives? Because you've tried a lot of things here that aren't working. It feels like every step, or she says this, every step that we do to prevent these things, like Nimrod, actually leads to Nimrod. And the same thing with Destiny, who, by the way, she can't come back. Not Destiny. Destiny's not returning ever, guys. Who runs, like, why is she below Magneto and Chuck? I always perceived her as like the showrunner here, but she's not. Um they seem to talk to her respectfully, and Magneto's like, I'm not afraid of the truth. Let me know. But I just feel like they're being like the parents to her when she's the one who knows better. I guess she's older because she's lived all those lives. She has the experience, and she even sons Chuck. It was weird because they spoke to each other, I guess, like a family. Like, you would speak to your siblings like that. It's so she said to Chuck, like, you may have seen my lives, but you didn't experience them, and that makes a big difference. I'm like, yeah, you get points for that. But like, does she know she needs him so badly that she can't ruffle the waters? You don't ruffle waters, you ruffle feathers. What do you do with waters? What was white water rapid? What do you call it when it's like rush the waters? Flood the water? No, when water's moving quickly, there's a word for it. But you don't do that with the waters. Whirlpool? No. Surf the waters? No. Someone in the comments help me out. I swear to the Jonathan Hickman telling the people to F off that I used for my clickbait title. It's coming. Moira is going to reinforce that Destiny cannot return, and also because there's empty seats on the Krakoan Council, sell it as a season of change, okay? But make sure you go to the Cerebro helmets and delete the data stored for Destiny so she can't return that way. Hey, also go over to Mr. Sinister and delete the DNA that we have that belongs to Destiny. She cannot return. No Destiny, okay? Whew, we've covered our traces. There's no way she can be resurrected by the Five. Moira, do you read comics? There's other ways to come back, baby. She's not off the playing field. You think that you fooled her? The next is a white page, which I thought was useless, but it's about Black Tom Cassidy, a plant guy, and he's feeling machines under his skin. Let's remember that. It's not going to be there for nothing, I don't think. We get about 3 pages of Doug waking up to his woman that he... So you see, this was him saying, Teen Howard, you're cool. Waking up to his woman that he married in the Ten of Swords comic. Yeah, it's 3 pages, and then he's chilling with Krakoa. Okay? Now we get to the good part. Storm. I'm going to read every word, and you're going to have to understand what I'm talking to you about when I tell you that. Change is in the air. Seems I can feel it. This was ... unexpected, but the council will honor your request. I'm just surprised as all. Normally, you've never given these things up without a fight. Is this Jonathan Hickman? Is this Jordan D. White having a conversation? Because look what happens next. This is a look on paper. It looks like Cyclops is leaving his role because the X-Men is what he's about now, and that's a superhero team. And he's not the leader of the mutant defense forces. Did we really even need this? Who even remember that was the thing? No, we didn't need this. But it's Jonathan Hickman talking through the characters. I'm older. I've grown over the years, and after all, a victory is not a defeat, no matter how much people try to convince you otherwise. That's a shot at Jordan D. White, okay, everybody? I cannot be an X-Man out in the world and remain the chief protector of our great mutant experiment. This demands a more tentative eye. My question is, why not quit altogether? Krakoa does not need the half-hearted efforts of the lukewarm. That that no? You don't see that? You're not hearing what I'm hearing? Okay, cool. That was the second one. We're gonna keep going. If any of you feels the need to test my conviction, go right ahead, says Cyclops. Cyclops. I have been well tested in the wars, and I am still standing. That's Jerry Doug and Jordan D. White. Of course you are, says Jonathan Hickman. But it's hard for me not to fear cracks forming in the firmament, son. Is this really the right time for this? I don't even know what firmament is, but he called him son and he said, is this really the right time for this? Hello. It's the perfect time. I will still be a captain, of course. I do that for our people. I'll still be the head of X, but I simply cannot remain more than that. Not now. Not now. That's why I'm saying, like, I think that this book or Jonathan Hickman may return to the X-Men later on. But Cyclops says, the job, this sacred duty, demands total commitment and unwavering principle regardless of cost. Books are sold for a cost, right? But because they got to be sold for money, sometimes it ruins the order, the pacing that the storyteller wants it to come out at. That was Jonathan Hickman talking. Again, everybody. Now he's going to promote Bishop. Remember how like Ileana was second in command? That's the rightful heir, I guess. But why Bishop? Because Bishop is on the Marauders. Jerry Duggan. The crown just went to Jerry Duggan's head. That's what happened. It's in the comic book. It happened just like that. Got to read through the lines. Okay, Emma Frost now says, tell me, my love, do you captains just expect us to accept this decision with no input from the council? Is that not a reference to the vote that just happened? Isn't that an X vote thing that everyone to a man decided, no, we're going to keep it here at phase 1 of the Jonathan Hickman X-Men special? That's what that is. I fail to remember anyone asking for permission. It's not about permission. I don't know why that vote took place. We decided to go away back in 2018. They said, okay, we'll do Jonathan Hickman books. We're going to have 12 comic books coming out week by week by week. Let's get started on that story. And we're committing. And then they decided not to commit anymore by doing a vote. Who asked for a vote? That's what I'm thinking. I love this. The amount of thinking that was being done here. And it's meta and it serves the purpose for the story, of course, because, new guys being promoted to a new leadership. But for someone who's like frustrated, who has spent all of this money on all of these comic books throughout the Dawn of X 2 years, and seeing like, I'm not getting a conclusion to this, and I hope we do get a conclusion, maybe 2 years down the road or something. Maybe that's where this is leading to. But to spend all that money, I am mad. I am kind of frustrated. So getting this through the cracks, slipping it through editorial or whoever it is that's supposed to catch these things, and it's hiding in plain sight. This isn't Joe Bennett. I'm gonna be racist, slick. It's in the words. It's right there, and I love it, and I think it's genius. Salute to Jonathan Hickman. Ileana speaks now. You should know, if it's not already obvious, that we're also drafting in Psylocke to replace Gorgon, so we could fight over it if you want. Make it a twofer. Didn't think so. I don't know what that was, but there was a lot of attitude there, so maybe that I didn't get that one. We asked for wolves to guard the den, and lo, it is wolves we have raised. Like Storm said, changes in the air. Congratulations, Bishop. Well earned. I have all the faith in the world in you, Captain Commander. You have my word, I will not fail. You didn't hear that shit? I heard that shit. And then Cyclops says something about getting drinks and paying, and I think that's an inside joke maybe between the writers of who going to get drinks whenever there's a convention. The last page says that because when a new captain gets raised, it ain't without getting in a fight. It's a tradition. Yeah, that happens. There's fighting. Now back at the Quiet Council, Professor X Jonathan Hickman is speaking to the writers and says that you should not fear embracing a little happiness and enjoying the fruits of what you've built. That's nice, I guess. I'm confused, Professor. Are you asking for names of those we think should join us here or volunteers to step down? Huh. Then Magneto's going to say that they do need replacements because that's what happens. I.e., Cy Spurrier, people coming in, Al Ewing, he wasn't there at the beginning of this thing. The next line of significance is when Magneto says, "What we do not have is a retirement plan." That's so epic. So you plan to step down? I will follow my heart, Sebastian, for the good of this nation. Jonathan Hickman is leaving. He's going to follow his heart for the good of the series. They talk more about change, and Mystique comes in and tells them, "You know perfectly well when you have a good idea." So Mystique is telling Jonathan Hickman, you know when you have a good idea, and change is a very good idea. Now we return to the comic book like it's a regular comic book because Mystique is going to recommend someone for the new change, someone to join the council. And you hear the words, "There will be an island. Not the first, but the last." And you know how that spiel goes? The final page, it's not a splash page because Jonathan Hickman was too busy getting his shit in and cramming all of the insults. It's not a splash page, it's just the face of destiny. Shall we vote? Thrilling little ride that we went through here with the Inferno stuff. I want to read issue number 2, 3, and 4. But this is a smile back on my face because that's the X-Men stuff that I signed up for. And I paid all those monies for. All of those monies. Thumbs up the video. If you disagree and you think like I'm reading too into it, of course you can dislike, but also write in your comments of how you feel, like I kept asking you throughout. Chillmonger out. Be sure to check out my 33 burning MCU questions stream that's coming this weekend, probably Saturday afternoon. You can also check out the one I did last week for the Star Wars universe.